Yeah, I am the tax man here on AM560 the Answer. Your path to finding out how to solve IRS problems. I'm here with our technical producer, Deborah Schreiner, my co-host and realtor, Jim Leahy, and you, the listener.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
Mr. Know-It-All. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The segment where attorney Stephen Leahy gives us his infinite wisdom on all things about the Jeffrey Epstein case. Taxes. For those who are just tuning in, we just did the conspiracy theory segment beforehand. Brought that out of the vault a little early.
Okay, so
you know what else is early? I don't mean to, we're going to jump right in, but have you seen a couple of the Halloween stores going up already? It's August. Stop.
I have.
Okay, anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a question out of attorney Stephen Leahy's book, and it's going to be Chapter 4. So open up your handy-dandy notebook.
How can I get that book?
You can go to freeirsbook.com.
Thanks for asking.
Well, it's freeirsbook.com, right?
That's correct.
What is it again?
freeirsbook.com.
And go get a copy of your free IRS book. So it comes with a decoder ring, like little orphan. So what to do if you forget to file some tax returns?
That is Chapter 4. What page, Jim?
Page 23, like Devin Hester.
It is true. And this is important because almost everybody comes. There's two things that are going to be: either you're going to have unfiled tax returns, or you're going to owe the IRS money, or I guess both. Both can happen. And so I've had clients who just haven't filed, even though they probably don't owe the IRS money. Sometimes the IRS actually owes them money, right? And so we do the returns for them. The IRS calls you non-filed returns. They don't call them unfiled. They call them non-filed returns. If you go to the IRS manual, we talked a little bit about this on the show, 4.12, it's non-filed returns, and they dictate, how long they'll go back, and what goes on. So one of the, and I've talked about this on the show about the secret ingredient to solving IRS problems. There is one secret ingredient, and that is compliance. Compliance begins with filing your non-filed returns, getting them filed, and then you can get in compliance and try to work with the IRS. Because if you have unfiled tax returns and you call the IRS, see, I get this a lot, in that people say, well, I owed for 2010. I'm going to call and make an agreement for 2010, and then I'll do my tax returns, and then I'll make agreements for those years. That's not the way it works. Okay, they won't make an agreement with you for 2010 if you have unfiled tax returns, or non-filed returns, as the IRS calls them. Okay, so here's a secret that people. I had a guy call me. He's an over-the-road truck driver. He has not filed in 20 years. More than 20
goodness.
years. Have not filed in more than 20 years. And he's kind of laughing. He says, well, I bet you never heard that before. And I had to laugh back and say, yeah, I heard a lot. You think you're the only one that hasn't filed in 20 years? And the problem, and you think you're getting away with something, you're really not getting away with anything, because who wants to live like that, right? If you have unfiled tax returns, how are you going to get a loan? Are you ever going to buy a home? Are you going to buy a car? Are you going to buy, how are you going to live your life? How are you going to take care of your family when you have unfiled tax returns and you can't get any credit anywhere? Who wants to live like that? And then always looking over your shoulder, because remember, one of the things about unfiled tax returns, it's a crime. You can go to jail for 1 year for every year you have not filed your tax returns. And we talk about our famous guy, who's our famous black.
Wesley Snipes.
Always
bet on black.
Always bet on black. Because what did he go to prison for? He won 3 years in prison for 3 years of unfiled tax returns. That's what they got him for. Okay, that's what he went to prison for. So you go to prison for unfiled tax returns. If you owe the IRS money, or and you think you could just not file your tax returns and that way they won't come after you, what will happen is the IRS will file the tax return for you. This is called a substitute for return. We're going to talk about that in more detail.
The SFR.
The SFR. And they will file it for you. And it's not...
But that's the scariest thing, is when the IRS files it for you. Because how many times... every time we talk about the SFR, I have to interrupt you and remind the IRS Radio Hour listeners about the story of the taxi driver who didn't pay his taxes, and all of a sudden, well, they did an SFR, and they go, well, because we decided how much you drove, and it was...
This is true.
How much more was it? You said
Well,
50,000. It was a ridiculous number more.
It's not a service that they're providing. It's a penalty. They're going to exaggerate how much you owe them. Okay, so in order to solve IRS problems, it begins with compliance, and compliance begins with filing unfiled returns, the non-filers. So that's my number one piece of advice. First, again, even if you... Here's another thing you got to know. If you have unfiled returns and the IRS is going to give you money back, they'll only go back 3 years. So people think I'm going to file in 10 years and I'll have all this money. No, you won't. The IRS is going to give you all that money. So you're not putting it in a bank and their IRS is going to take it from you. You're not going to get it. So that's 3 years. So anyway, I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-all.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-all. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're just pulling these questions right out of Attorney Stephen Leahy's book. Deal with your IRS problem today, which you can get at freeirsbook.com. Go over there, get a copy of your free IRS book at freeirsbook.com. One more time.
freeirsbook.com.
I love it. And call Opem Tax Resolution 312-664-6649 and visit chicagotaxteam.com. Oh, my gosh. We're listening to our sponsor. Come right back here on AM560
The Answer.